What's going on, everybody? Glad you're here. You are listening to the Genuine Leadership Shift. I'm Austin James Crawford. We're just here to create a space to talk about some real leadership, hard truths, and the work it takes to do the right thing and be a great person. Let's get into it. So there's that pace that we lead with, and then there is a pace that I think everybody else experiences. And most of us leaders obviously don't burn out because the workload is too heavy. I think we burn out because we never slow down long enough to actually realize what our speed may be costing us. So today's episode is a little bit about leadership tempo and why slowing down doesn't actually make you weaker. I believe that it makes you cleaner. And learning how to stay present, even when it's uncomfortable, might be one of the most important leadership skills that you ever develop. So this is episode number 6 of the Leadership Shift. We're calling it the Leadership Tempo. Stick around. You're going to love what we unpack today. All right. Welcome back to the Genuine Leadership Shift. If you are listening today for the very first time, I just want to say thank you so much. And I am very, very glad that you are here. I appreciate you checking us out, seeing what this is all about. If somebody shared this with you, please thank them. And if you're joining us again and coming back for another visit, I tell you what, it's valuable. It means a lot to me. And this is not about me. This is not about just you. This is about the community and the growth and the strength that we're trying to build in a leadership community. So thank you so much for being here. Again, my name is Austin James Crawford. I am your host. I am a hospitality leader. I am a coach, a husband, a father. But I really think more than anything else, I'm really just somebody committed to doing the work of leadership as honestly as I possibly can. And it's not worth pretending that I've got it all figured out. But I appreciate you hanging in here. And this first season has, I think it's stretched me a little bit. It's created a little bit of opportunity for uncomfortability. And we're just going to keep navigating through this journey. And again, if you appreciate and you find value in what we're doing today, we appreciate you continuing to share the message. Provide your feedback. If you don't like what we're doing, that's great too. I need to know that. I want to hear about it. I want to find out how this is resonating with our community that we're looking to build. So our first episode, or our first season rather, I think hasn't really been about the performance. It's really been about the foundation of everything that we put into play, right? Learning your identity, learning how to build some integrity, talking about presence, being present. Obviously pace. Pace is exactly what we're going to be, highlighting today. Obviously discipline. And those are some of those foundational things. And later on, we'll get into performance and we'll get some more nuts and bolts. And we've talked about hospitality, and we're going to continue to talk about hospitality as an industry, but also more importantly, what we have woven through everything that we're doing is hospitality as a mindset and how that plays into leadership, from thinking about how hospitable can I be and how much of a servant can I be, and what kind of environment and what kind of experience am I bringing to the table as a leader. And so the inner work, all of that is just really determined, by how you show up, And so that's way, way, way before anybody ever really starts to follow us. And, I don't come into these conversations as anybody who has mastered anything. I've messed it up. I'm still messing it up. And I don't know. I just think practicing this and talking through it and having learned experience, and then sometimes using this as a platform of internal reflection and self-reflection along with you guys has been not only therapeutic, but I think very, very beneficial to the trajectory of growth. So there's a room in my house that it's quiet now. It's empty. It's not bad, right? It's not empty in a bad way. It's just a little bit different for me. So my daughter recently moved out. Now she is focused, she is driven, she is following her dreams, she is working on herself, and that is exactly what she should be doing. But just some days when I walk by the room, because it's right by my room. It's right by everything that we walk by every day. I think about if closing that door would be a little bit easier, or I think, would being shut be better or would open be better? But if I close the door, right, then some of that is all out of sight. And I don't actually have to feel this shift that we're going through. But if it's open, now I'm reminded of the space that she once filled. And I think that I realized something, contemplating this and honestly just standing there the other day. Like closing that door would be way faster, right? But leaving it open is a little bit more honest. I mean, that room didn't lose its purpose. That room has fulfilled it. That room did exactly what it needed to through her time with us. You know. But I think most of us, we don't move fast because we're busy. We move fast because I think slowing down and honoring the shifts that are going on, right? Slowing down makes us feel things that we really don't know what to do with, right? And I think as leaders, we have gotten very good at closing doors, right? We close doors on discomfort. We close doors on transition. We close doors on, honestly, just being still. But tempo isn't just about how fast, how quickly we move. It's honestly how fast or our ability and our willingness to stay present with it. And that's exactly what today's episode is going to be about. Leadership tempo. The truth about speed, right? There's a lie I think that all high achievers believe. And that is if I slow down, I'll fall behind. And that is wrong. That's not right, because if you never slow down, you'll actually eventually lose control. Thinking about driving a car, right? So speed without clarity is absolute chaos. Speed, without being present is a little bit kind of like an inflated ego. And then speed without like actual direction is you're headed for a crash, right? Headed for burnout. Fast leaders, honestly, and what I've realized and started to like uncover here is that we we cause and create a slower team the faster and faster that we try to move. So when we rush, what happens is like our communication tends to get a little bit more sloppy, right? Our tone gets a little bit too quick, too sharp. Expectations are very unclear when we're moving at a pace that nobody else can uphold, right? Your team gets anxious around you. Because of that, your influence obviously is going to get a little bit more diluted, a little bit more watered down. And we want to talk about presence. We talk about that all the time. And I think back to the faster I'm moving, the less often I am actually present with people. I am actually less present in the moment. I am actually just trying to get something done, and I'm moving too fast. So the presence disappears, and people aren't going to follow us as a frantic leader. Really, they just kind of get by. And so I've had to do a little bit of reflecting here, and I encourage you to do the same thing. How fast are you moving? And is it causing your expectations to be unclear? Is it maybe stirring a little bit of anxiety amongst your team? So I encourage you just to, slow down a little bit. Don't be so frantic. Let me tell you a little bit about a personal story, because when speed got in my way, maybe that's helpful. In my leadership journey, I thought that like speed is definitely excellence. The faster I can move, the faster decisions, the faster reactions, faster assumptions, that meant I was good, right? I was really good at doing everything really, really quickly, go, go, go. But then the team around me really just started to tighten up. Not out of like respect, it was out of tension, right? There's a difference between a tight team and a tense team. And so there was this one night I just reflect, and it's actually more than just one night, but I think back to being busy during service, and the server like was just so hesitant to ask me a question. She's like, "Sorry, I know you're going fast, but I don't even remember what it was, but those words hit me so hard because I was like, yes, I am going fast." But my immediate reaction was like, "Well, hurry up and tell me what you're going to tell me so I can get on to this next thing," rather than just like, "Whoa," being present there and being available to figure out how I could help and serve them. That landed heavy with me. I mean, this was not because, she was hesitant, but it was because I was unintentionally training her to tiptoe around my freaking speed. My urgency created the anxiety. My pace was just creating extra pressure that really shouldn't be there. Now there's a time, right, where urgency is important, and there is a time where things need to get done and we need to do them quickly. I'm not saying just be lackadaisical in everything that you do. But when your reactions are creating hesitation, I think back to one of my absolute fabulous mentors in this business. He said, "Austin, you're actually moving too fast to really even see and recognize your own impact." That sentence right there changed literally everything. And so if you want to see how leadership tempo in real time, right? If you want to see that, there is literally no better classroom, right, than in hospitality. Now, I know that my story, that's where it resonates, but I think, again, tying all of this back to a hospitality format, right? When we're in those four walls, when we are serving and we're providing an experience, tempo sometimes is not optional. Okay, the pace of the dining room, it's part of the atmosphere. It's part of how everything feels. We tell people all the time, move at the pace of the dining room, right? There are some nights where we move a little bit more slow. We move with intention. There are other times where we've got to move with a sense of urgency, right? The kitchen, it's got a tempo. Our expo line has to keep pace and keep timing. The floor, the bar, the guest experience, all of that. That is what us as leaders in this industry and in your industry too, you set the pace. You set the tempo, right? It doesn't have to just be a kitchen or expo or a dining room, right? It can be an office. It can be a classroom. It can be a workshop, right? It can be a factory. Wherever you lead people, you are going to set that tone. And if you rush the room rushes the guest, the room rushes the customer, the room rushes everybody else around them. It trickles down. If you panic, guess what? Your bartender is going to panic too. A frantic leader creates frantic service, and a calm leader will always create confident service. And I've got to try to focus and think about that sometimes when I feel my speed just creeping up. I'm good at keeping the foot on the gas. I was not so good at using the brake. It's about strategic operation, right? A give and a take. The team is going to absorb your emotional speed, your physical speed, every single time. So this is where the genuine leadership playbook actually comes in. And one of the tactics is mindset, integrity, purpose. And you cannot lead from integrity at a pace that burns out your purpose. You can't deliver +1 if you're delivering it from exhaustion, right? Presence is that leadership skill, and we talk about it here all of the time. Pace, right? Tempo, it's going to protect your presence. Internal tempo, right? That's the real battle. because tempo is not an external issue. It's an internal one. It's your thoughts, it's your fears, it's your insecurities. They're all sprinting up to the surface. They're all surfacing so quickly. And most of us as leaders, we don't sprint. We don't run as fast as we possibly can because the business actually demands it. We're sprinting out there, acting like a fury and a frenzy because we got something that we're trying to prove, right? Or maybe we're just, I don't know, a little bit afraid to slow down. We're maybe uncomfortable with stillness and silence. We're, running quickly and we're operating too fast because we're trying to avoid having some, I don't know, some hard feelings, processing those feelings. We're maybe confusing a little bit our productivity with value, right? We're leading from insecurity at this point. And I'll tell you what, your team doesn't just feel the tone and the presence, right? Or the pace, excuse me, of your decisions. They feel the pace of your emotions. And a lot of our speed is not about urgency whatsoever. Our speed, a lot of times, it's about avoidance, right? We move too quickly to close those doors. The doors of discomfort, the doors of transition, the doors on feelings that we don't have time or maybe even the language to actually sit with. And leadership presence is not built by closing those doors quickly. It's built by being willing to actually leave them open long enough to understand what that room, what we're looking at, is trying to teach us. So let's shift this a little bit practically. How do we slow it down? Okay? This isn't, a checklist, but it's, I think, a leadership identity shift. And here's how you slow it down, maybe with a little bit more purpose. I'm thinking that if we pause before we respond, right, even just a couple of seconds, take 30 seconds before your pit stop, take 30 seconds before your pre-shift, take 30 seconds before your meeting, right? Walk the floor a little bit slower. Take a lap. Your body is going to broadcast your ability to be a leader. Think about your tone. Protect it. The tone is also the tempo. And I think a big one here is reacting, right? You got to reset a little bit before you react. And that's where presence comes in. Presence arrives and kills any sort of pressure. So don't just react, reset. When you decide to be a little bit slower, you decide to be a little bit better. So just walk in calmly and leave with clarity. I want to put a challenge out there, right? We talk about these every week, something that you can take away. How do we apply this practically? And your challenge this week, it's simple. It might not be easy, but it's simple. I want you to choose one moment in each of your days or throughout your day where you would normally just rush through it. That might be a feeling, that might be a conversation that you don't really want to do, right? Or decision that you're don't close the door on that. I want you to just stay present for just a little while longer, a little bit longer than actually feels comfortable, right? Sit in the uncomfortability. That's the challenge. You don't need to fix it, right? And you don't need to resolve it. I want you to just notice what slowing down actually reveals in that circumstance, in that situation. You choose to slow the moment, right? Speed up the clarity and slow down that moment. And as we start to wrap this up today, I want to slow this down. Because in reflecting, this episode isn't really about speed. This episode is really about presence. Presence in how you think, presence in how you speak, presence in how you move through the spaces in which you lead. The truth here is that most of us as leaders, most of our problems, they're not created by pressure. They're created by our tempo, by our pace, by moving too fast to notice even what our tone is, right? Too fast to even be able to read the room, too fast to even recognize the impact that we're having. Now, slowing down does not make you less decisive. It makes you more deliberate. It sharpens your clarity, it strengthens your influence, and it steadies the people around you. Because your team does not just follow your direction. They absorb your tempo. And that's why your challenge this week matters. Go back and choose one moment in each day to actually slow down intentionally. Slow down on purpose. Before you react, before you correct, before you decide. Don't rush past it. I want you to stay present just a little bit longer than actually feels comfortable. You don't need to fix the moment, and you don't really need to even control it. I just want you to notice what actually slowing down is going to reveal for you. Our leadership isn't measured by how fast we move. It's going to be measured by what you're willing to stay present with. And here's that invitation. Wherever you lead, whether it be at work, whether it be in your home, or maybe even in the quiet moments for yourself that nobody else is seeing, slow the pace, speed the clarity. Thank you for being here. Thank you for doing the work. And thank you for choosing presence in a world that rewards urgency. And as always, if this episode has resonated with you, follow the show, share it with somebody who you think needs it, and let's stay connected. Because wherever you go next, do the right thing and be a great person. This has been an episode of the Genuine Leadership Shift. If you found connection in this episode, we would appreciate a share. We would appreciate a follow along, and make sure you get this out to the people that you feel need to hear it too. We're looking to grow a community. We're looking to create presence. And honestly, I'm just looking to learn and grow alongside with you. So give us a follow, give us a like, and let's build this together. Do the right thing and be a great person.